All right, welcome guys. Thank you so much. Welcome to the finish line of Comic-Con Los Angeles. Guys, my name is Justin Steele. I am the host and producer of the Tsunami Healing Podcast. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Play. All these lovely people that you see sitting on this panel, they are former guests of the show. And real quick, we have Aalia Lanius. She is the co-founder or founder and owner of Empowercon. She is an award-winning novelist, cancer survivor, wife, and mother. So we also have Hinwood. He is the co-founder of ATAEC Studios, a independent production company. So they have a lot going on. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We have Javier Hernandez. He is the owner and producer of the Muerto comic book series. And finally, Tony Kim, who is Mr. Comic-Con, and he owns and runs the Hero Within online apparel shop. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And we're just going to dive right in. So guys, real quick, just going down the line, I mentioned some of the things that you do. Just talk real quick about what it is that you guys run.
Well, I run a nonprofit media company, and what I look to do within my world is take digital content and live events and create those and really provide discussions and places for people to talk about the issues that we're dealing with. And I definitely loop entertainment into that a lot, because working in film and also in writing books, it's just, I think it's such a fascinating industry that can teach us so much on so many different levels.
Thank you.
For me, running ATAEC Studios had started out as a way for me and my friends to make movies, and had kind of grown into, after an accident I had when I was younger, a way for me to focus on two issues, which I use the terms inclusivity and reality to be those, is what I like to focus on now. I've started to put a vision together, a goal of where I want to end up with this company, and inclusivity and the idea that we need to see and hear stories from all sorts of different types of people, and I think that's very important, especially growing up multiculturally as I have. You know, my parents had very different perspectives. You know, I think that that's important that we see those perspectives. In reality, because I feel like there has been a little bit too much surface level stuff going on. If anything, more towards like A-list movies, in my opinion, and entertainment, is that things are very surface level without touching on the actual issues, what's actually going on. And I think that for me, inclusivity and reality, like keeping those as two terms to focus on, are ways that I try to make sure that all of the content that I put out has a reason for existing.
Thank you. Sorry. No, go ahead, Javier.
Yeah, in addition to my comic book, which I definitely talk about, I also co-founder of the Latino Comics Expo, which me and my friend Ricardo co-founded it in 2011. So it's the country's first convention dedicated to the spotlighting Latino comic creators. We also have animation, filmmakers. We've had some masked wrestlers show up there. So we've been doing it since 2011, and well, in 2 years, it's our 10th anniversary. Hard to believe that. So we do it yearly, and we're planning on doing the next one in Long Beach in the fall of 2020. So we'll be getting ready for that. And I've been doing my comics for 21 years. I self-published a comic called Muerto, and it was turned into a film in 2005, I guess, 2007. The dates is like so long now. So that's basically what I do, comics. The convention, I also teach comic book classes at libraries and schools throughout Los Angeles.
You boy. Tony.
Yeah, so again, my name is Tony, and my company is called Hero Within, and basically after being a fan for many years of going to conventions for a long time, and being on panels and interviewing and doing all this kinds of stuff on stage, it kind of frustrated me that there was not more options when it came to kind of representing our fandom, and also like something that was more professional wear. So, you know, just so much has changed in pop culture in the past 5-10 years, just dramatically. And even just 5 years ago, when it came to like pop culture or fashion, there really wasn't a ton of options. I mean, it was kind of like Hot Topic, and that was kind of it, right? And even at that, it was like T-shirts and, you know, hoodies, and, you know, just marveling at your vest, you know, just a while ago, you know, there's just not, you couldn't get something like that a few years back. So So yeah, so we started. We were licensed with DC and Marvel, and then we just announced Star Trek a couple months ago. And yeah, so we kind of create work that you can wear to work or socially, or something that's, I call it like grown-ups or fandom for geek wear for grown-ups, that we kind of call it. So.
Thank you so much, guys. And hey, all these people you see right here, I attended their panels last year. I actually met Javier and Tony here last year just by sitting at their panels.
Yeah.
Aalia, we met online, and then we showed up and we were here at Empowercon right here at the LA Convention Center not that long ago. And Eric and I met at a Patreon event. So the power of networking, guys. Don't forget. So real quick, I'm going to open it up to the panel here as we get into it. How did you guys first start? And this is open to anyone who wants to jump right in.
Well, for the comics, I've always been a comic fan. Since I was a kid, my brother gave me his stack. He got it in high school, so at that point you either stay in the comics or comics are too goofy for you. So he gave me a stack of comics, and I never left. So at one point in the 90s, it's like I really want to make comics, but I didn't want to be the 300th person to draw Daredevil. No offense. And also I wanted to do a comic more reflective of like Latino culture. So by the mid 90s, I was just kind of researching a lot and looking into independent publishing. And by '98, I published my first book. Self-published it. Deals with Day of the Dead and Aztec mythology, which I like to tell people this is way before Coco ever showed up, which is a great film. It's a great film, but in '98, you didn't see a lot of Day of the Dead in pop culture, to be very honest. I mean, they had the festivals and everything. And also Aztec mythology, I wanted to put that in the comics because of like, at that time, the only mythology I think that people knew of was Hercules. It's like, obviously there's more mythologies, but how many Hercules movies have there been since '98? Much less like me growing up. So it was a desire to tell my own stories, but I also wanted to reflect like Mexican culture in comics, which wasn't something very prevalent back in the '90s.
I think that's kind of very similar. I will say that I always wrote, and I had actually a very successful retail business that I had grown from one store to over 30 across 3 different states and created a multi-million-dollar industry in the retail world. But I wasn't really still doing what I loved to do. And then there came that point in my life where I really wanted my work to make a difference. I knew within the retail space I was because of how we built a culture. But then, I wanted to do it in entertainment. My husband is an executive producer in film. He's produced films with Keanu Reeves, Samuel Jackson, not the good one actually, by the way, we're not going to need it. No disrespect to Sam Jackson. But then Brad Pitt, we'd actually just, and so the funny thing is with my husband in film, we had that film connection, but like I really love to write and tell stories. And with the culture of society really becoming this negative, I said, well, instead of arguing with people online, I'm going to create stories that I feel represent me, and I think us all as artists do that, and then also hopefully make a difference. So that's also where my events come in, but my latest book just won 2 international awards, and I'm excited because giving with writing, and it gives me a worldwide platform that I'm able to hopefully impact and make it a bit better and create that opportunity for myself instead of waiting around for someone else to give me the go-ahead to make a difference in the world.
I like I mentioned, fan forever, and I was for many years, 10-15 years, I was in the kind of the marketing world and nonprofit sector as well. And I loved what I did, and I felt like I was felt blessed to be able to do it. But at the same time, I got that point to where my life was just, I felt like all I was doing was just answering emails. It's just like, I was a professional email answerer. That was my job, right? I felt like, and I just come into the mirror and I was like, I just can't do this anymore. Like I've always loved to create, and I was always an artist, and I was always loved the intersection of creativity and pop culture. And for me, as I look at what's happening in today's world, like nerds and geeks back in the day were sort of like, we were all stereotyped as being in the basement and kind of weird and goofy and all that, but now like we're the content creators, and we're the social influencers, we're the businessmen, artists, community developers, all that. And I've always felt like that's our outward appearance doesn't really reflect who we really are. So we called our company Hero Within because we wanted to be a positive force in culture and wanted to be able to say that, hey, we all have a hero in all of us that needs to come out. So, while we make clothes, we want to kind of put a perspective on it where it's about being a hero in your world, your everyday life.
And I guess where I got started is a little bit different because I was 14 when my friends and I decided that we were going to start this company.
Wow.
So we actually started that process before I had any sort of idea of what kind of message or what I wanted to do or where I was going to end up. Because I enrolled in film school at 15 and ended up moving to LA when I was 18 and just kind of dived right into it. But it wasn't until a couple of years later that I looked back at the first film that we had made. So I had grown up in Salinas, California, and if any of you are familiar with that area, it's not the greatest, put it that way. So when I look back at the first film that we had made, it was actually called Ninja vs. Samurai. And it was about two rival groups, and there was a river, like a mutual area that they were fighting over. And I realized that it was just a metaphor for gang violence. As a 14-year-old, I had just written this metaphor for gang violence and had, made it into something for the history project we were making for school. And it took me almost 5 years to realize that was what I was doing. And then I realized, well, okay, I guess I need to talk about the things that are a part of my life, that are who I am as an individual, that other people relate to. Because that first film created enough of getting the ball rolling that we made a feature the summer after I graduated before I started undergrad. So I guess I just realized that even if I wasn't aware of what the message was at the beginning, that it will connect with people. People will see that in themselves and think, this is something I want to know more about, this is something I want to be a part of, this is something I want to express in myself. And that's been the hook for me, seeing that and realizing that I can talk about my life experiences or find people who can talk about their life experiences that other people can relate to and grow from.
Thank you guys so much. Just real quick for me, I started this podcast about a year and a half ago. I originally went to school for interior design and architecture, and I just wanted to interview interior designers, make a podcast out of it. But then I realized I was into a lot of different things, comic books, MMA, comedy, horror, wrestling, all these different things, and I was like, am I going to have 7 different shows? How do I combine all these things? And so it truly was a gift of God, because I went on this long road of personal development, and what God gave me was, we're going to start this show called Tsunami Healing. It's going to be about the intersection of nerd culture and how those things are healing and therapeutic for people. Because it's kind of a buzzword now. It's kind of the trend right now, obviously, with a lot of the movies and mediums coming out. But it's been very unique, because normally what people don't, they talk about the medium that they do, but they don't talk about the healing aspects of it. And so also too, I wanted to bring people, it's a very diverse panel of people coming in from all different mediums. I wanted to bring all of us together. So I say just do it. Just go do it, because it's been a really cool too. It gets me into all the cons for free. So thank you for coming. It's been fun. Guys, with that too, I want to start doing some individual questions here real quick. Aalia, you just started Empowercon. That's a whole convention in itself. That's kind of the same idea. What exactly is Empowercon? What do people expect?
So Empowercon was based on, the con thing. Everything is con. And I love it, but I really was like, okay, so I wanted to take empowerment, another hot word, and I, of course, did Empowercon. And what I felt was, how do I take people that I know have overcome amazing obstacles in their own lives and inspire an audience to do the same in their own? And where I feel that there's a lot of personal development events and conferences out there, they don't make them affordable for people who need them the most, and that was something I was dead set to do. And then secondly, they usually just use kind of personal development coaches and motivational speakers, which I find is amazing, but I wanted to bring people from all different. So I brought like the first woman to break the world Guinness record for longest triathlon in history. She also happened to be a survivor of human sex trafficking. I brought Michael Yeslind, my babe, who is the creator of Batman as we know it in film today, and his was so cool because that's exactly just bringing these people together and then having these really cool, unique speakers that they didn't expect it from. So the head of a very big organization in LA came up to me afterwards and she's like, I never knew what Batman was about. She's like, I never got it. My kids have all this excitement over the comics, but after hearing him speak and then relate it to like how we deal with our own personal lives, and people were enlightened by that. So that's my goal with Empowercon, really truly empowering people and also networking, because like you said, everything in life, when we talk about building businesses and we talk about building infrastructures and everything, networking is absolutely key to that. You cannot do it without, especially in the entertainment industry, for sure. So yeah, so that was what Empowercon was about.
Absolutely, yeah, and thank you for sharing that. And so, quick story behind that. My girlfriend, Amelia Fortes, hi honey, hope you're out there listening. She started Self-Love Story. Self-Love Story is a kind of the same idea. It's about loving yourself, and she's a life coach for women and other people in general. She does a lot of different things. But when I saw it online, and I was like, wow, I was like, honey, Empowercon sounds cool. I was like, it's your con. I was like, they made a con just for you. So I was like, and then next thing you know, she reached out to Aalia. She's like, oh, by the way, we have a booth and you have a press pass for all the days. So I was like, what? I was like, that's just the type of person he is. And now we're sitting on a panel together. So again, guys, just the power of networking. Hi, April.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, April in the building. Miss Royal Hawaiian. She is one of the original Glow ladies.
Hi.
So
Hi.
welcome to the panel. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's really fun. Tony, my man, you started Hero Within. It is the classy but nerdy pop-up online attire. When I saw this, man, this was so cool. You obviously have the exclusive Comic-Con hoodie on right now. You make a lot of cool stuff.
I'm really digging that, by the way.
Yeah. So you have a lot of things coming out. I believe you had the Batman exclusive hoodie here this weekend. What can people expect for Hero Within coming out in the future?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things. Forever, I've only wanted to create two things. I wanted to create something that matters for a community that I love. So I've always felt like that. I don't want to just put more stuff out in the world. I just wanted to put something out that really, truly matters to somebody. And I wanted to just not go to just random people. Like, I don't want to sell like, Walmart or whatever. Like, I wanted to go to a community that I love dearly. And so that's been our commitment from the very beginning. To be able to, I love coming to cons because you get a chance to just directly, we have a booth here, and you get to interact with fans about, what they love, what they're into, what they're looking forward to, and kind of what they don't see in the market and what they hope to see. So we're constantly taking all that in, and coming for us, we kind of follow it helps to follow the cinematic universe, with Marvel and DC. So for us, like this next year, it'll all be about Wonder Woman. So we bring out a lot more Wonder Woman product for next year for both guys and gals, and some Batman merch, and then of course with the new phase of Marvel coming out, will be all that. My early fandom was Star Trek, and so I'm really excited we have a couple of Star Trek pieces that are coming out really soon as well. So yeah, it's like it's fun to be able to create things that you love, but then also just to be able to try to make something that fans have not seen before. So.
I love it. Thank you. And the word, ladies and gentlemen, is pre-sale. Pre-sale, yeah. Because I went to Comic-Con in San Diego for the first time this year. I was a rookie to the game, but I know now you have to pre-order everything, and you got to go pick it up. I showed up to Tony's booth at Hero Within every day. I talked to one of his employees, Abby. Shout out to Abby. I bothered her at 9 o'clock every morning. She's like, "We're sold out." Sorry, I was trying to get that. So he said, "Nope, sold out." I was like, I should have just bought it online.
So we were the exclusive designer for San Diego Comic-Con's 50th anniversary hoodie. So we're the first company to be licensed by San Diego to create something for them. And so it was we knew it'd be popular, but it was like that crazy, like people were sleeping out overnight, like multiple days and nights in a row to get to our booth first, and so there was it was one of those like really like crazy sort of weeks where.
So can you still get them or
no?
Exclusive.
Yeah. So it was fun to be a part of that because you again when I was telling another panel this how 3 years ago when we started I came to San Diego Comic-Con and all I had was a handful of samples. Like we weren't in production or anything, literally a handful of samples, and I'm just like hustling and pitching it to anyone who's listening. I'm literally like outside of panel rooms, on the street corner, going to artists, like just saying, hey, I had this great idea, like will someone just listen and appreciate it? And fast forward to 3 years later where people are like sleeping outside overnight to get something like that. It was a truly humbling and like a really like you know like life-changing sort of experience to be able to have that past years.
So where do you sell your stuff besides?
It's mostly online.
Okay,
yeah,
so it is online?
I mean, we do major shows, but it's mostly online.
Okay.
HeroWithin.com.
Yeah.
What was it?
HeroWithinStore.com.
HeroWithinStore.com.
I have cards.
Okay, cool.
That's so funny you say that because, you know, like any time is humbling, but you also put the work in to get it done. I remember when I was promoting Empowercon, you would find me out on the street with a canopy and even my kids who were like, here, you're going to help me. We're going to like pass out flyers.
No shame.
And I'm an award-winning author and people don't know, but you know, they walk past on the street and whatever, like, I don't want your flyer, lady, who are you? And I'm like, it's okay, because you know what, I'll get one to the next one. And I remember I was with one of my interns who's from USC pursuing media, and I said, if you can learn to not give a, excuse my language, crap about what anybody else thinks about what you're actually trying to do in life, then you're actually going to make it. That's number one. Get over the hump of just being afraid to go out there and do what needs to be done. I was at the New York Book Fair, which is like a large book fair, BookCon in New York, and they were so shocked that for the first time I had a book signing. My book signing was the longest that they had all week long. Why was that? Because my publicist and I were in there early in the morning handing out flyers, letting people know where I was going to be. How could you, you know, that's necessary when we talk about building a nerd empire. I mean, just, you know, we're all already kind of picked on a little bit anyway, allegedly. Like, wow, who cares? Okay, you know. So yeah, I think that's incredible that you did that, because exactly that's a reflection of that effort you put into.
Don't quit, folks, because now he's licensed by these and
That's awesome.
Thank you, Tony. Javier, man, I love it. I was just knee deep into the El Muerto comic book series again. What's next? Kind of similar. Is another feature film, and what's next for Los Comics? There's a lot of stuff coming out all the time. So, what's on the table?
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned it. Yeah, they made a film out of my comic back. I didn't mention it, right?
Yeah.
Been talking to fans all day, so I don't know if I already said it or not. So I got the rights back to the thing. So yeah, I wouldn't mind looking at what's this whole new stuff now, the streaming, you know, a series. Nothing in the works, but I do own the rights again, so who knows what could happen with that. As far as the comics, I'm working on the second. Like, I'm illustrating book 2 of the graphic novel, and then I'm writing book 3, like just notes. So I'm trying to stay like a couple of steps ahead, but in all it should be 10 books. Should have started this when I was 30, like a 10-book graphic novel series, but gives me a reason to stick around longer. As far as the, what's the other track? The Convent Comic-Con, the Latino Comic-Con,
Yes.
we're doing an animation festival in Las Vegas in January. It's our 3rd animation festival, and then we should be doing another expo in the actual fall of next year. So, and then I'm always teaching, you know, getting new teachers. So a lot of things going on.
Hey man, mad props for self-publishing back in the 90s, because now people are, you know, you can make a comic book on your phone and have it at your doorstep like 6 hours later. But like, self-published back then, that's like splitting the atom. So,
well, I got all the inspiration from, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of work. But
yeah.
You wouldn't want to get the voice out, like you're saying. It's like, well, I'm going to do it. They want to control it, own it.
You're one of those people that creates the opportunity for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's powerful.
Be on the lookout, folks. Thank you, Javier. Appreciate it. Eric, my man, real quick, just tell us about some of the, we talked about this on the episode, but tell us a little bit about some of the projects that have been out from ATAEC, and then you may or may not be able to talk about some of the stuff that's coming out soon.
Let's see, I feel like the big one was Carpe Diem European Escapade. That was one that came out on Amazon Prime in January of this year. And that was the longest I've ever worked on one project to get it to where people could actually see it. because we shot that in the summer of 2012. So it was 7 years of putting in work on that film to try to get it to where it is now, but it is up on Amazon Prime. We've had a lot of short films come out, different stuff, might be in a couple festivals, waiting to hear back on a few things. But the one that I'm actually most interested in right now is actually something the ATAEC name isn't on, but it's something that I'm producing. It's a pilot for a TV show written by a guy named Hammes, and it's a very interesting story because he was born and raised in Tanzania and moved to the US into what he thought was going to be New York City and ended up being a small town in upstate New York. And because he thought, New York, you moved to New York, it's New York, it's not New York. So he wrote this story of how he moved to a college town as someone who wasn't enrolled in college, ended up enrolling in the school and then dropping out, and just kind of all of what happens in that. And it was such a cool story, really dark comedy, and was just so in tune with his life and what that kind of experience can be like. So we have a couple agencies that have asked us for content by a certain date. So fingers crossed there might be a season coming up in 2020.
Oh.
So that's what's hopefully in the works coming up.
Hey, I love it. Eric, real quick too, if people want to audition or if they want to be a part of ATAEC Studios, how can they reach out to you?
Honestly, as much as I hate social media is the way to go. Reach out via Facebook, Instagram, things like that. Let me know that you're interested in working on something and collaborating. There's always room for more hands on set. Auditions, whichever casting site the producers are using, usually LA Casting or Backstage, something like that. But I'm always happy to hear from people that are interested in collaborating and working on stuff, because a lot of my favorite projects have been through collaborations like that.
Thank you. Get your resumes ready, folks. It's coming. Guys, I want to open it back up. You need to, the podcast, and you guys do a lot of different things. You're your own boss. You're putting in all the late hours. You're your own promoter, your own marketer. You're coming up with your own sales strategies. But then you also, you're out here connecting with everybody. So, and you're creating content. What is the most healing and therapeutic part for you and all the endeavors that you guys do?
I'll just say real quickly, for me, I already mentioned this, that it's the face-to-face interaction with customers, I think, is really huge. I mean, because as many of us, we do most of our most significant work alone or in the in front of the computer, and you sometimes you get disconnected from the importance or the impact that it has on customers and fans. And so to just be at a show like this or other places where you could just hear from people like what it meant to them and the importance of it, I think that makes up for all the late night hours and all the, I tell people that owning your own company is it's no problem. I mean, it's 8 days a week, 25 hours a day, burn the candles on all three ends. And so when you interact with the fans, it makes it all worth it. Like, that's what really is the payoff.
I have to say, so this is a true story, and this is one of those things where I'm sure someone will relate. I had set my eyes on Empowercon and launching it. And there were some other people that were involved originally, and then about halfway through the planning stage, they kind of fell off. They just felt, it was very interesting because they said, well, I don't see anyone, you're going to get the most out of this. And I was like, that's so not true. I mean, I'm really promoting other people, and if I get something out of it, there's nothing wrong with that since I'm the one who created it. But at the same token, this is not the Aalia show. All it did was drive me to work harder and to be more successful in that particular project. But what was so rewarding is the day of it was so funny. Once the actual complete program was done, we had done the last thing on stage. The co-founder of Empowercon, who joined me on this venture from Toronto, I just cried. I hugged her and I cried because I was just so happy that we had done it. But on top of that, previously I'd been out on the floor and people they were like, I have chills. My life is changed. My soul has been fed and I feel good. And that was all that I wanted them to feel when they left that event. So for me, hearing them say that I'd done that meant so much. And it was like, you know, not to sound like a mean person, because it's not mean, but I look back at the people who dropped off, who didn't believe in the vision. I was like, oh, I'm sorry you missed out. Yeah, I'm sorry you missed out on that.
Thank you.
I think for me, there's one specific moment that was kind of like the moment where I'm like, all right, this is worth it. It was summer of 2016, and I was set to direct my third feature film, and it was about the Syrian refugee crisis. And I thought it was really important to get the voices that were behind that out there. And they offered me $5 an hour to do it for 3 months. And I did it. There was an additional 2 months unpaid. And we had a second unit of photography where I had to come back for another week to shoot even more of it, and post-production supervisor, and all sorts of different trials. It feels like to use mythology we know too much about, the Herculean tasks. But when the premiere happened, someone came up to me afterwards and they just started crying, and they said, I never knew. But it wasn't about what it took to get it to that point. It was that there were people that had no idea what people were going through, and we were able to show them. And we were able to change people's minds. We were able to say, like, hey, they're humans. Like, this is something that's going on, and it's affecting people. It's not affecting a country that you've never heard of. It's affecting a person that you might become friends with if you met. And just something about that, just, I don't know, it changed things.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your soul with us, brother. I appreciate it.
Can you say what was the name and where was it filmed?
War of the Limelight was the name of the film. It's currently being used as an educational piece at high schools and colleges with a curriculum, and there's a post-production house trying to get it to a higher tier of distribution, but that's it's starting right now. And it was shot in Monterey County, actually, and in the area where I grew up. And one of my dad's best friends was from Syria, and he was one of the people involved on it. And the executive producer had been at the refugee camps in Greece and had been talking with people there and helping out, and they had just come back so impassioned about it. That's how it took place.
Thank you.
I feel lucky that, because I do these various things, like, I'll be honest, like the comic, because I write and draw everything, it's very like it's self-centered, egocentric. It's like, no, it's just me working on the comic, and I put it out in the world, and then you enjoy it or not. But it's all about, this is what I wanted to create. Like the Latino Expo, that's it's not the me shows, but provide a platform for Latina creators, amateurs, people, veteran creators. But everybody gets a space, and then the audience can come and just enjoy it all. But I think it was our first or second show. We were up in San Francisco doing it at the time. This elderly man came in, right? This Chicano guy, and he brought his 2 granddaughters, right, so they can check out all the creators. And then he was telling me and my co-founder, Ricardo, he took us to the side. He goes, I didn't know, Latinos make comics. I go, well, that's why we made the convention, to spotlight. Like, you proved our point. They got, and he was talking about sport. I don't know anything about baseball, but he was talking about like some old, I don't know if it was Mexican or Puerto Rican baseball player in the 40s or 50s. And he said he was a really good player, but he never got a chance, and he just kind of disappeared. And then his voice was getting emotional, so he was telling us, well, hopefully you guys will be able to support these artists so they don't disappear. And he was getting choked up, and we were getting choked up. And I don't want to get choked up right now. But I told him that's exactly why we're doing this. So these, creators have a space for that we can show off their work and inspire other people. Because we get young kids all the time, like, especially when we have Latina creators, they're like swamped by young Latina girls. It's like, wow, Latinas making comics. So So the expo for me allows me to like at least help and present some type of platform for other people. Whereas the comic, nope, my name's up on top of the book, it's my book. You know, it's like John Carpenter says, his name's on top of his movies, they're his movies. Whether you like them or not, they're his movies. So I mean, I like that part of being an artist, but also like being able to help other artists and get a spotlight.
Amen.
I love it, and thank you guys for putting all your stuff out there. The world needs it.
And where is the Latino? Where is that?
Latino Comics Expo, .com, or so we've had it in different places. We started in San Francisco for 3 years. We've been in Brownsville, Texas, San Jose, but we kind of want to keep doing it in Long Beach at the Museum of Latin American Art if we can. But the reason we travel is sometimes, you know, we like the idea of traveling because not everybody can fly across the country or in the state. But if someone offers us a nice little package, hey, we'll put you guys up, we'll finance it, so it's nice to kind of have a traveling show.
Love it. Guys, we all have rough days. They're all, no matter what you're doing, who you're working with, there's always a point in time where you just want to quit. You don't want to do anything. I know that happens to me sometimes. And for myself, some of the things I try to do is just take a step back because I never want to stop. I just want to slow down a little bit. Yeah. And I kind of just take a break and then I come back to it. So what do you guys do to overcome that time when you just feel like quitting or you just don't want to go on anymore? That's for anyone.
Can I tell you the quitting story?
Yeah.
Quitting story. I just said on a panel last night, but so this was my second comic convention, barely the second one. So it's more pathetic. I had a table, it was up in Oakland, right? I was staying with my friend Rody, he lives up in Oakland. So he's kind of like the local, right? The local hero, because that's his home base. So he's tabling next to me, and the show starts, a couple of hours. He's doing really good, right? Because they're, hey Rody, how you doing? And then no one's looking at my stuff, they're just like going right to his table. And that was for hours and hours, and it's like, maybe it was Saturday, and I was thinking like, Rody, can you watch my table? I'm gonna go for a walk. He's okay. So I'm leaving, and I go up to the bar, the hotel bar. Not even a big drinker, but that's where you go when you're pissed off and right. And I sit in the bar, and of course they're playing a football game, which I'm not into football. So everybody's there having a good time, right? Yay! And I'm moping, And I decided, okay, it's like 2 o'clock. I can go back downstairs, pack up my crap, throw it in the car, just go home. I quit. I can be home by 8 o'clock. So I go back to the floor, the busy convention floor, and I'm walking back to our tables, and my friend Rody's like peeping up, looking for me. Hey, Javier, come here, hurry up, get back here. And what is it? He's like, well, this girl wants to buy some comics. This guy's from whatever the local Oakland paper was. This guy wants to get some stickers. So I sat down, I helped everybody out here. There's money, oh yeah, interview, blah, 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 blah. And then they leave. And then I sit down, like, man, Rody's like, what happened? I go, man, I was going to quit. He's like, what? I go, yeah, I swear I was going to come back down, pack up and leave, but, I guess I'll stay. So the rule, my advice is don't ever quit because you never know what's just up ahead, another day, another corner.
Yeah, mine's a little, I talk about this. So as a 3-time cancer survivor, I often say that I don't waste time others wish that they had. I consider myself very fortunate to be here. I'm a mother of 4. I'm about to be a grandmother in January. And I can't, like you said, I refuse to feel guilty because I get overwhelmed, but I understand that that's just a reflection of my current circumstances. And there's just too many beautiful people that I know that wish that they could be here, and so since they don't, I push forward. And I do look at my kids as reasons for me to go on. I was nominated by an organization called American Mothers as the Mother of the Year for 2019, and it was such an honor. Thanks, it was such an honor. But I often say, I'm just proud to be the type of mother I wish I had when I was younger, and I'm thankful for that. So I look at them as kind of my always, okay, I've got to keep going. It's a proud moment to show my family that you can do it. You can, get faced with challenges. Cancer was obviously a really, really big one for me, but no matter how much, I always say, when you find yourself on the ground, you get back up, baby, because down there is not where you belong. So, that's kind of been my thing to keep going.
Awesome.
I remember the very first convention that I exhibited at, as a month after we had started. it was in Chicago. It was a 4-day show, and I sold 2 jackets in 4 days. And I thought to myself, and I put everything into this company, like savings, everything. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is the worst life decision ever. You know, family, mortgage, all that stuff. And but you kind of realize after you experience those lows that it's less about the actual like product. It's less about like your personal like charisma and all that. It's really about grit. It's really about if you can survive and if you can push through and outlast everyone else, you'll win. Like, win in the sense that you'll make it to the next level. And so all this time I always thought, oh, you make something that's it's so brilliant, it's going to be so noticed, and everyone's going to just like open up all these doors and make it so easy for you to blah blah blah. But honestly, it just is like it's getting up every day and doing the work and showing up and making the most of every opportunity. And sooner or later, it'll kind of get to the next level. But the difference between people who fail and succeed really is not so much on what you're making, but just, and that's important obviously, but it's are you willing to really stick through it even when it's like really bad and really low? And a lot of people aren't. A lot of people just don't have the stomach for it. So I think that's the most important thing I learned is just like stick through it, push through, it'll get better, and it happens.
What do people in our industries though too, sorry, I'm just saying, like a lot of people will look at someone else and say, you did it so easily. Or they think it's so easy. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's not, nobody, no actor is an overnight sensation. They, and it's like, it's just funny. It's really teaching people, and that's what everything I do is teaching people the reality. Be prepared. Okay, life is going to be rough. The challenges are going to be rough. You're going to get doors slammed in your face. Just knock on the next one, Yeah, like that's important.
And I think for me, the hard days are ones I struggle with a lot because, well, for a number of reasons, but I had 2 strokes when I was 19, and energy levels and sometimes even mental clarity and memory are issues. So I kind of have to realize that I'm not going to be at 100%, and I'll never be at 100%, but you have to give 110%. So how do you do that? So one of the things that I do that confuses a lot of people is I work out really, really hard because that was one of the things that helped me get through the stroke times. Was they put me on such an incredible workout. They had me doing everything, hours a day, every single day. And so my weird way of getting around the hard moments, it's like I want to give up, I want to quit, I don't have the energy, I can't do this anymore, is I'll go to the gym and I'll put on the hardest gangster rap I can think of. And I'm not talking the like booty shaking gangster rap, I'm talking like people that have really struggled, people that have really had a hard life. And how did they do it? Is my life harder than theirs? I don't think so. If they can do it, why can't I? It's a matter of perspective. And with what you were saying about, just keeping going, one of the people that I listen to is, Rest in Paradise, the late Nipsey Hussle. And his claim to fame, his tagline was "The marathon continues," that it was all about just not giving up. That the reason he was there and other people weren't was because he had just kept going when other people had given up. And I think that's one of the things that keeps me going, is knowing that you just don't give up, and you just keep going.
How long ago was your stroke?
It would have been coming up on 6 years, a little over 5.
You look really good. I was a caregiver for my mom, who was a stroke survivor for 10 years. But
I'm extremely lucky I don't have a caretaker.
You're absolutely right, but you look great.
I'm actually the only person at the LA County stroke survivor meetings that doesn't have a caretaker. So I am incredibly blessed in that, and also the youngest person in those meetings by about 25 years. So
I've been to stroke survivor classes every Wednesday for 10 years. So I know a lot about them. I saved my husband from dying because they identified that he had a stroke or was having a stroke. But it's inspiring to see you achieve so much.
I love it, guys. It's like low energy. It's like low energy as you got. Thank you guys for sharing that. That's really nice. Last few questions as we start winding down here. Real quick, how did you guys find out when you were first starting out, like what was needed in the industry, like what was missing? Like how did you do that? And like for me, with Tsunami Healing, I just authentically was just doing myself. Because I'm so weird and I think so differently than other people. They just don't understand. A lot of people don't understand wrestling. A lot of people don't understand like the weird things that we do. They don't understand like, you know, these independent comic books that, you know, I find like they're not into monsters or horror or, you know, but you find your people, like you find your community. So like, how did you guys like find the thing that was missing in the area that you were going for?
I think for us it was easy, but the expo, I mean, you know, there was no other Latino comic expo at the time. You know, the way that came about, like, we have like the official story, me and Ricardo, but then I'll tell you the real story. I was up in San Francisco one time for a show. That's where he lives. So I was staying with his family. And we're walking the streets, and then he's showing me these two buildings. And then he goes, so the one on the right, Javi, is going to be the new Jewish museum. It's almost done. The one on the left was supposed to be the new Mexican museum, but there was something embezzlement, and I don't want to get into it around the suit here, but so it wasn't going to happen. He was all distraught. And it's like, well, I can't do anything about that, right? It's beyond me. I go, but, you know, I do comics. I've known comics people for years. Maybe we can do and I just literally made up the word right then. Latino Comics Expo. He's like, what's that? I go, well, it'll be a small convention with just Latino creators, right? So it's not a Mexican museum, but you're still supporting, you know, the culture, the La Raza. So it's like a vacuum, you know. We just wanted to do it.
How many vendors or comics do you have at that event?
It depends on the venue. Like the first, at the Cartoon Art Museum in San Francisco, the first 3 years, I mean, the first show we had was probably like this size. This room was the show. We had, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 vendors. So now when we go to the larger places, we might have 80 or 100.
Have you heard of LACC?
Oh yeah, East LA?
Yeah, East LA.
My friend Peter puts that on.
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah.
And, well, I'm friends with both of him and Patrick J. Martinez.
Oh yeah, he just interviewed me earlier.
Yeah. Well, we co-host the radio show. That one is a very good one. It's a Latino, and there was like 100 vendors.
Yeah, no, it's a great success.
Great.
But a lot of times you see that there's something not out there, and you happen to be, like in my case, a Latino comic creator. I can gather enough people, so you just create it. You think it needs to be out there, and we did need a Latino Comic Expo.
That's awesome.
I'm a big fan of Wonder Woman, and a year before the movie came out, you go online and there's like nothing for guys when it comes to Wonder Woman. It's all for women only. So I was like, that's tragic. So yeah, so we came out with a denim jacket. It's a Wonder Woman denim jacket that's for men. And so we posted it, and I was super excited about it. But there was like, as many people were excited, there was like a very like vocal minority of dude bros who were like, thought that it was like totally like, why is a guy wearing it? And thought it was like sissy, and worse, that it was homophobic or whatever. And it was really interesting to see, like we would display it at a show, and you'd have a couple walk up, a guy, girl, and she would say like, oh, like, honey, look, that'd be a really cool jacket for you. He's like, well, that's Wonder Woman, how they could do that. And she's like, I've worn Batman and Superman for years, why can't you wear Wonder Woman? And so you kind of see the light bulb sort of flicker, you know, and there would be this interesting, you know, sort of like lights turning on for these dudes, and so it was really interesting to see how like something as simple as a jacket can sort of like push the needle of conversation a little bit, and what was really great to see was so much fan support kind of because a lot of like blogs and websites started talking about it, and really came to sort of defense that, you know, Wonder Woman's not just for gender specific, but she's a hero for everybody, you know, and then fortunately for us, it led to a lot of sales. But so, you know, that was one of those things that I guess ultimately, like all of us, you just something that you want to see out there, and you want to feel it.
But you really shattered this like imaginary wall. Because you're right, I grew up my whole life, you know, knowing Wonder Woman, but oh, it's just for girls because we have the dolls and girl shirts, and you're like, put it on a guy's jacket, like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, with unsugar-coated media, I definitely saw a need. We have so many one side or the other, and I felt that it was very important for me to come out with a media that represented truly what I felt was bringing people together by true bipartisan and just good content that makes, you know, and even like what you talked about, all of us are bringing different perspectives as creatives. That's what we do, like with you, with the jacket, and then with the comics, and then like with the film. You know, with my book, it's actually, I'm meeting with screenwriters right now. This is going to either be turned into an 8-part miniseries or a feature film, or at least the beginning steps for that. And it's exciting, but it's, you know, genuinely because I see that need, and I won't wait around anymore. Like I can't, you know, I don't subscribe to the theory that I'm helpless, and I don't suggest anyone else either.
Thank you.
What's the name of the book?
This one is called Jugend. It's a German word for youth. I thought Jugend sounds so much better than youth, you know. And I know it was like kind of a faux pas, like a word that's not, but I feel to me that was a little bit more intriguing, and it definitely takes on hateful rhetoric and stereotyping, and it was, you know, it's a very hard-hitting story. It's a drama for sure. People think it's like, you know, and then they're like, oh, okay, didn't expect that. Good, because then that means I'm doing my job if you don't expect it, right? So, yeah.
Thank you guys. Real quick, for anybody just starting out, maybe comic books, maybe their own online store, want to be an author in film and production, what do you suggest for somebody just first starting out?
I'd say the number one thing is make content, create things, have something where you can say, here, take a look at this thing that I did, that I made, that I created, that I something. Because one of the biggest things for me was, how do you break into the film industry? Well, so I guess I have to make my own films. I don't know anyone in entertainment. I didn't have anyone, you know, entertainment-related, family, friends, anything like that. So it was create the content. So when you show up, you can present yourself as, hey, I already do this, and I've been doing this. And then you're a lot easier to hire.
So how long have you been doing this?
At this point, 11 years.
Yeah, no one cares about like the idea, right? Everybody always says, I have an idea, like, but produce it. You know, especially nowadays.
Or don't wait for somebody else to do it. You just
do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because right now, like in this minute, with all the digital platforms and print on demand, I'm talking about getting a book overnight. You know, you can make a movie on an iPhone, I understand. So I mean, you know, you don't have to wait for something. Just put it out there, because I hear all the time, I have an idea, like, so what? I got a ton of ideas too, but I got some of them actually in the real world. Not to be harsh, but it's just the reality, I think.
Perfect. Real quick, guys, as we close too, can you just go down the line and tell us where we can find you guys? If they want to buy one of the products, if they want to follow you guys on social media, how can they be a part of the journey?
My best place is Instagram, Aalia _unsugarcoated, and Aalia is 2 A's, A-A-L-I-A, and unsugarcoated is my thing.
For me, ATAEC Studios on YouTube, or my name on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't use Twitter much.
Just go to my old blog, Havzilla.com, and on the right side is all the social network stuff. So go to Havzilla first and read these old articles.
HeroWithinStore.com, there's cards, and then Hero Within on all the social, and then we're on the floor. You got like 5 minutes.
No.
So you gotta get to it, but I don't know if they'll close right at 5. But
I was going to say, just, will you have any of this on your?
Yes, we are live recording. Well, yeah, we're recording right now. Then I'll tag. Don't worry, we'll take photos.
Well, I would like to pass it on.
Absolutely,
You know.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Real quick too, before we close, does anybody out there have any other questions for any of the guests?
Content management. You guys talk about being creative and then forgetful and stuff. Like, how do you keep track of everybody? Is there a favorite app on your phone or something? Real quick.
I'll admit I'm terrible with this. There's probably like 6 emails that are unread that I need to answer at some point from months and months ago. Like I try to handle as many of the things coming up as possible, but I know there's stuff that's going to slip through the cracks. And so for me, it's doing the best I can until I can afford an assistant.
our online platform is Shopify. It's fantastic. Slack is a great app for content management and really communication within teams. So those are the 2 that I've written.
Can I ask you, how many people do you have working within your?
Right now there's 5 of us.
That's good. You used to
And
be
then
by
if I count
yourself,
myself
right?
twice, that's 6.
That's almost work. You do twice
Yeah,
as much, so.
seriously. Yeah. So.
I will say, just only because you mentioned getting help, one of the best things I did as a business was apply to the USC, and I get the most amazing interns, young, hungry individuals who are already learning, and just being able to mentor them. I love that. And like my intern, Taj, he's just fantastic. He writes so much stuff for me, and it's nice to not have to worry about, I just delegate that to him. And it's not that I'm trying to get free work, because I always check with him. I'm like, are you getting something out of this? Like, are you actually learning from me? Because that's important. I don't want you to think I'm just leveraging you. He's like, no, I'm learning a ton, believe me. But just taking the time to actually take those people underneath your wing, as well as offer them an opportunity, is a fantastic thing to do.
It's good, because I'm a hands-on learner, so for sure it's better than being in a class or being,
Yes.
because that's valuable.
Yeah, and I would also say too, surround yourself with positive people who do a lot of great things. Take breaks, take rest, and very simple, but it's helped me. Like, do one thing at a time, prioritize, and then once you've done that thing, check it off, celebrate it, and then move on to the next thing.
Delegate if
Yes, and delegate. Yeah, build a team around you, and appoint people to do it. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Real quick too, we're on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. Please listen to the show. We're also on Instagram and Twitter at Tsunami Healing. We have stickers and magnets for you guys, so make sure you get one before you leave. They're exclusives for the con. And also too, if you like this, you want more of it, you can go back and you can listen to their episodes. And we're on patreon.com/Tsunami Healing if you want to join the community in even a more enriched way. So thank you guys so much. It's been such a pleasure. Our first ever Tsunami Healing panel. That's it. Thank you guys.
wonderful. Hey Justin, you're not weird.
I'll totally admit.
You are not weird.